this won't sink. The pipe won't sink. But I think you need to dig it back up again. You got to dig it back up again and make sure that no matter what's happening in the yard, this it doesn't affect the line. You know, you can build a structure for the pipe so it sits on. So as the land sinks, the pipe won't sink with it.
Okay. And what were you saying about the septic tank?
It needs to be decommissioned. I'm surprised when they switched from the sewer from the septic system that they didn't decommission it then. It's actually code is when you reconnect it to the city system, you also have to decommission it at the same time. To when the inspector comes out to inspect the line, they're supposed to inspect that to make sure it was decommissioned properly.
And what's involved with the decommissioning?
You got to pull it out. You got to pump it. You got to aerate it so it's dry, and then you have to fill it with approved material. There's crushed rock that's made for it, so you know it doesn't end up being an area drain.
Okay, so if it's not decommissioned properly,
Yeah, it's just going to fill in with available water. Any water coming off of this hill will find its way into that
okay,
because it's the water's always going to go to the lowest point. You know, before it gets into your neighbor's yard, the bottom of this pit is probably lower than their sidewalk, so it's probably going to go in there first.
and so how does that affect the area around it?
Well, it's going to sink. You know, it'll liquefy in the surrounding areas, and it'll just start settling on you. Potentially. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but it sure looks like it. I see kind of like a depression here, and I see another depression over there. It's probably because of the cesspool constantly having water in it.
Okay. So even though we pumped it out, it's just a Band-Aid.
Well, no, it's good you pumped it out. Now you need to fill it in with gravel. Well, plus it's not safe because if the walls collapse, all of a sudden somebody will walk by and fall inside. Then you got a real problem. You know, someone will end up getting drowned. Somebody can get hurt. So it's not just for the stability of the ground. It's a safety issue because somebody walking by doesn't know that that's hollow underneath there and end up falling down inside of it. So it's actually dangerous. How long has it been decommissioned?
I'm not sure when they hooked it up to the city line.
Years, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it had to have been years.
Yeah. Yeah, you really do need to decommission it. That's as important as this. You don't want to do it at the same time. We do those two. We can decommission them. But you need a machine. You got to dig it out. You got to expose it. You got to empty all the water. Make sure it's, you know, they make some so to disinfectant, and then they fill it in with a gravel, and they put a cap on top of it. Usually concrete the top, and then you know like about an inch or two below the grass, and then cover it back up with dirt.
So
But
you think that would be more the problem than the pipes that?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think it's one and the other one. But like I said, there's ways that you can mount the pipe on a structure underneath. Like you can build like with tile, and you know 2 or 3 tile high, and grout the tile and sit the pipe on top of it and bury it. So in case the ground around it does still sink, the pipe won't sink with it. Right now the pipe is probably sinking with the ground. So I think you're going to end up digging this back up again, because the problem probably is not under your house. The problem is out here. And you know, maybe lower the line. Maybe when they originally did it, they didn't put in a fall on it, and I would maybe lower the line to give it more fall, and then maybe put a structure underneath the pipe just in case it does fall. Then the pipe, I mean the ground around the pipe will fall, but the pipe itself won't go down with it because it's going to be braced up. Because I can see it all sinking right. You can see sinking areas around here. But I think you need to do them both at the same time. I don't think you can just do one. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money. But you certainly want to decommission that more for safety than anything else. Like I said, if your tenant or whoever lives here, some kid runs around and falls in, you got a whole different problem. You know, as the owner, whoever the owner is. I'm assuming people are renting downstairs.
We're downstairs.
So you're the renter and the okay. So if you have little kids and they come out and they run on top of that and fall in, you know, the owner, you're not the owner.
No.
The owner's got a big problem, you know, major lawsuit. Then all of this is is small potatoes compared to that. So I would think that that's probably the first thing you want to deal with. Like I said, we can give them a price to do it. It can be pricey because you got to pull it. Usually it has a big cover on top of it. You got to get in there with a machine. You got to pull the cover out, expose the hole, and then like I said, you got to empty it and make sure it dries out as best as you can. And then you fill it with crushed rock. And then usually we put like a capstone on top of it, like maybe about a 4-inch capstone, maybe about 2 or 3 inches down, and then bury it in dirt. And that way, guarantee it's not going to be an issue.
How long does something like that take?
This will take longer than this. Usually about 2 or 3 days. Fortunately for you, you have a lot of room to get a machine in here. You know, we'd have to probably pull this fence down. Pull the fence down and get a machine like a crane to come in and pull the thing up. Because usually it has a cover and has a handle. If it doesn't, then we got to dig around with a backhoe to expose it and then kind of grab it and pull it out. And if nothing else, go in there with a jackhammer and jackhammer the cover open, you know, and actually break it. So it kind of depends, but most times you can get something underneath to pull the cover off. And then, like I said, empty it out, dry it, and then fill it in. And then while you're here, dig this out.
Because this is probably still sinking because of the water.
From what I can see, you know, without digging it up, I would say that this thing, you can see depressions for sure. And the cesspool's so close, it's definitely, you can see where the grass right here to the left, you know, the grass is making everything look kind of level, but you can kind of see where the grass is a little bit tall right here, like it's sunk right there. And the whole thing looks kind of sunken into that. So the cesspool itself looks like the low point, and it's all kind of sloping toward that. So I think that's what the issue is. It's your line needs to be lowered and probably reinforced, and your cesspool needs to be covered. Anything short of that, I think, then it would be definitely a Band-Aid. Because if you just dig this thing back up, the guy who did this really should have known that. You don't.
Yeah,
it
no,
doesn't
he said it needs to be decommissioned.
And by just moving it over a couple feet didn't do anything. Because the problem lies over there as over here. You know, there's a couple feet ain't gonna make any difference. So it needs to be taken care of first, and then this afterwards. While you have the machine here, we'll dig this up at the same time. And then connect it to wherever it's going under your house.
Yeah, I think the cutoff was right somewhere around here, right underneath.
Yeah. Where did they run these area drains? This for your gutter. Where's that running to?
I don't know for sure about
That's not
that.
running in your cesspool, is it?
I don't think so.
I kind of wondered maybe that's what's happening. Is because it might be. You know, they might have. Because I don't see it. It looks like it disappears. See, it's kind of going right here. I'm kind of wondering if maybe when they decommissioned, they were using it as for your. Was the cesspool full?
It was close to full.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think your area drain's going in there. Is this him?
No.
So all your gutters are probably all going inside that. Because where else, when it rains, does it puddle up over here?
No.
I can almost guarantee that's where it's going. So whoever did this, Mickey Mouse it in and ran it into the cesspool. I bet you that's what they did.
This is Maury.
Okay.